Yo, what's good, y'all? Andres here, also known as Madchia, also known as Bovine. So, as y'all can see from the title below, I want to break down this beat. One of those guitar soulful beats. Typically, I could hear like Marlon Craft on this, KOTA the Friend, Miles Monday, maybe even Khan, artists like those on this. Here's a quick preview of the beat before we get into it. Alright, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this beat breakdown. Come on. Alright guys, first thing I want to start off with is just that guitar sample. This is a guitar sample that I got off of Splice. I don't personally play guitar. Sometimes I'm able to get, samples from some of my homies who play. But the best thing about the modern society now is we got programs like Splice. You can also use Looperman. It's like a free version of Splice, but the samples are a little different. They got good samples there as well. I just feel like those are used way more often. But regardless, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy Splice a lot. I usually play all the keys, but when it comes to other instrumentations that I know won't sound as well, I like using Splice as well. For vocals, I always get most of my vocal samples from Splice. So let's go ahead and give this guitar sample a listen. All I did to it was just EQ it. Next up, I pulled up Keyscape. I got the upright piano and I laid these chords first. Again, I just EQ'd the piano on here. Hopefully, if you could notice, it's the same chord playing 3 times, but the velocities are different, so it's making them sound, the accents of the piano of the chord is sounding different. In my opinion, that way it doesn't sound like it's the same chord playing over and over again. It is, but it kind of gives it a different dominant note. There's probably a term for that. I don't know it. And on top of that, each chord has a different, they're timed differently on the beat. They're not all hitting exactly at the same time. It just makes it feel like I'm realistically, pushing it. I played it on my MIDI. This is how I do most of piano rolls when you watch, is I play them on my MIDI, then I come in and tweak them just a bit. Sometimes I hit them too late, sometimes I hit them too early. So I just put it to where it sounds good. Okay, right after that, I then added a top melody on top. The chord progression is just a 4-bar loop. It's repeating, but the top melody, I made it a 9-bar loop or a 16-bar loop, depending if you're working on double time, single time. Let's go ahead and give it a listen now with that top melody on top. Now that top melody is super off time. It's literally free hand played. I don't want to put this one on the grid because I wanted to give it that nice swing to it. My whole thing when I make beats is I don't want them to sound as robotic, at least in these styles. Now if you're making electronic or something, then it would make more sense, I guess. But me personally, I like that swing of the instrumentation. Like I've said before, I like more of that on beat timing from the drums, and then like the instrumentation on top to have more of the, swing. But yeah, literally just freehand played it, didn't nudge it at all, just went with what sounded right in my ears, what felt good to the groove. Yeah, also take a look at, I know I said this earlier, but the velocities on these are wild. Like they're more quiet on the first half and a little bit, more hard hitting on the second. Also, the first half is lower, is an octave lower, and then the top half I go an octave higher. Thinking of variations I can add to not make it sound as repetitive, as monotonous. Moving right along, I had some violins. This is from the BBC Symphony. These are just some single notes hitting and just filling up this beat more, making it sound more beautiful. I love using, orchestra instruments for this because that really feels the soul with like, this is smooth. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a listen now. I'm gonna add the guitar, the piano, and now the violin so we can hear the whole context as one. So as of now, we got a pretty good foundation. Next thing I did was find some vocal chops on splice. I found 3 that I really liked. I chopped them up so they're not the exact full length as the original sample was. I just picked parts and pieces I liked and rearranged them, stretched them to fit, you know, the tempo that I'm in. All together, I pretty much level matched them. I EQ'd each one, nothing crazy. You can see real quick, just you know, some regular EQ on them all. I ended up putting some reverb on top of all 3. So I grouped them all as one, EQ'd them, put some reverb on it. Now this is what it sounds like all together. Alright, next up is the drums. I'm gonna kind of speed run through it because they're very simple. We have a simple 2-step hi-hat just hitting. The velocity is moved. Next up, I got a kick here. It's got a nice, you know, 2-step like pop, pop, you know, snare hitting on, you know, every 2 and 4. So it's pop, 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 pop. You know, basically it's what it's doing. Nothing fancy, just a nice vibe to go with it. And then I got a crash, kind of just to add this note, like big, like oomph to it. Something about crashes, like when the beat drops, or just, you know, to add a lot of more character to the beat in general, make it sound more dramatic than what it is. I feel like crashes do a great job of that. So let's just hear the whole drums together as one with everything that we've played recently. Real quick, I just noticed I said an error. My snare's hitting on every 3rd, not every 2 and 4. It's still another simple, common snare pattern. It's either usually always 2 or 4 or every 3rd, you know, and then they add their little ghost snares, little variations in there. I kept it simple on this beat. All right, next up is the bass guitar. You guys know I love using the ABPL Ample Bass Lite 2. It's just a great sounding bass guitar in my opinion. It's a free plugin. You want to get it, just go to Ample. I'll put a link for it in the description. Yeah, all I did here as usual is I just EQ'd it and I added some R bass to it because I really wanted that low end to really have some body to it, you know, almost like an 808, but obviously not. I just like my beats bass heavy. You know, I'm a bass head. Those who know me personally know I'm a bass head. I have a 12-inch subwoofer in my car. So let's go ahead and give it a listen out with the bass. The bass note itself, it's literally just following the root notes of the piano. Nothing crazy. Felt like everything, all the melodies on top were taking care of the movement. The bass just needed something to ride on just to really fill in that lower end. So let's add everything. And after that, I'm gonna give you a little sauce that I would call that I added to this just to give it a bit more texture. And I felt like it really completed it. But before we get to that, let's listen to this bass line now. Simplest bass line you could ever get. All right, y'all, like I said, a little bit of sauce I would call. A little trick I like doing sometimes to add some texture to my beats is I add some ambience, you know, or some people also call it Foley is also another term for it. It's kind of, Foley is more like sound effects. Like that's what you would call Foley, like if making like a dragonfly or something, you know, that's how they make the sound effects. And ambience is, you know, just like the room around, like my PC being loud as shit that you guys can't hear. But yeah, I got this percussion loop off of Splice, just some random Foley percussion loop that I liked how it sounded. I didn't clean it up too much, just a little bit. Dope little percussion loop, bunch of random little hits. Now, if I put it just like that in the beat, you would have heard it right away. My whole purpose with this is to add texture to it without drawing the listener's direct attention to it. So I have it in the beat and then I lowered it to -42. Now that's really quiet, because let's listen to it now. Even just by itself, it's like you got to get close to listen to it. And personally, I felt like it added this nice texture to the beat. I don't see too many people do this. It is like, I would say, a sauce that I've seen people do, but not too many people do, or at least talk about it. So try it in your next beat, see if you like it. And yeah, let me know in the comments below. But without that, guys, that would be the full beat. Before I play the full beat though, let me tell you guys that I do have a Discord server where I do upload samples, loops, beats for sale. Any news that I got going on. I'm a rapper as well. I just dropped a song called Tell Me. The link for it will be in the description. Join the Discord. There's sections for you to drop your own loops. You know, let's collaborate. Let's just trying to build a community for producers like us to grow together, make music, and move up. So click the link in the description to join the Discord. And if you would like, there's a link for my song on all streaming platforms as well. But besides that, I appreciate you guys watching to the end of this video. Now let's go ahead and give this beat a full listen. I'll catch y'all next time. This has been Andres Madchia Bovine. Peace. Editor Andres here. Once again, I'm an idiot and I always forget little details I add later. Technically, this is like the same as the violin and the chords, but I added a flute as a variation for the verse part, and then a trumpet, just like some stabs, some staccato one hits, like at the beginning of every other loop, every other chord progression. Yeah, I forgot to say that. Sorry, but you'll hear it right now in the final beat. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. Catch y'all next time. Peace.